welcome to Fluketronic. Up now we're going to take a look at a very different kind of flute. This is actually a wind controller called the Clarii Mini. Now this was a Kickstarter campaign that kind of just wrapped up, so I think you can get these regular retail now. Very cool. So today we're going to just look at what comes in the box, how to configure it out of the box, and we'll look at the kind of standalone playing. There's a lot of other aspects to this that we'll get to in separate videos. So use as a MIDI controller, Bluetooth MIDI or USB MIDI. So we'll look at all that later, but today just kind of look at standalone mode. So first of all, what comes in the box? So it's a very nice box, just really good production. What comes in the box is the Mini itself, and this is it, and we'll look at that. All the details there in a moment. You have a couple of cards for like the Jamku app, an ad for the Cheesicizer iPad app, and we'll definitely look at that later. Got a pretty nice little carrying case, and also very good, excellent written user's manual. Goes through all of details here. We won't go through all the details today, but we'll look at most of the important points, as well as a quick start guide in several languages. So very good packaging, just a very quality retail package there. You also get standard USB cable. It says USB-C to A, so that's your charging cable. Does not come with a charger, so any of your iPhone 5-volt chargers can work, or you can plug it into the computer. Also comes with a neck strap I'm wearing at the moment, and a wrist strap, neither of which is probably needed because the weight is very, very low. Definitely have regular flutes that are heavier than the Mini. But the wrist strap just hooks onto this little hook, and if you wanted that kind of as an extra, extra safety bit, or you can also use the neck strap here. And once again, it just kind of frees up your fingers if you don't want to hold it. If you do want to hold it, there is a thumb hook here that you can move up and down to find your favorite playing position. All right, so let's go over the kind of the externals of the Mini. You have a mouthpiece cap here. Inside is the mouthpiece, of course, a very comfortable kind of rubber mouthpiece. You have the playing hole, I'll call them holes, but they're really pads, playing pads. They don't move at all, so these are much like an iwi or some other wind controllers. They are touch sensitive, capacitive sensitive. So you have 7 main pads, as well as a flat and sharp pads on the top hand, and I'll say left hand because obviously the bottom is kind of offset for a right hand down player. So left hand pinky will get you down semitone and up semitone, although the fingerings you can get most of the semitones, in between notes, with some alternate fingerings or forked fingerings. So we'll talk about the fingerings in just a moment. Okay, on the left-hand side as you're holding it, you have the USB port as well as a headphone port. And that's it for the side. On the back, go ahead and, so on the back you have the on-off switch. Go ahead and turn it on. Hold for about 5 seconds. At the top you have a little LED readout. Is it LED? I don't know. But a readout, probably about a 6-line readout. Have a couple of, I'm not sure what these little pad here things 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those aren't responsive, but there are some little rubber pads down the body. Just below um, the display here, you have the left thumb control. So there is an OK button. So you'll use that to set configuration. It also has a playing function. So you can use that as a +2 octave key, or you can set it up to control Portamento and maybe a couple other things. Right now I have it set up as a Portamento switch. Then you have the octave, the main one, and then octave up, octave down. There's the strap hook there. Thumb, right hand thumb hook. And then this is the menu key here to adjust all the configuration settings and then on off. There is also a light on the bottom. I have actually not read up on what all the different lights are, but you can turn that off too. Comes in various colors. I got the kind of a classic black one, black and gold. Oh, very important feature on the front is a speaker. So one of the things about this, aren't a whole lot of wind controllers that you can play by themselves, just out into the air. I think the UE Solo might be one of them, and then this is probably the only other one I know about. If you know of others, you can correct me in the comments. So that's it. Now, I will say spend some time with the user's manual and the various configuration options, because you can set this up for breath sensitivity, key sensitivity, some other things to really make it feel more natural for your playing style. So would highly recommend doing that. So I will just say the settings I have right now, got volume set on 5. We won't worry about sound quality too much out of the speaker. That's really not, you're not going to be recording with, I don't think, with the built-in sounds. But we'll give you a playing sample so you just get an idea. But I've got the volume set on right on the middle, 5. Does have a reverb for the standalone use. I've got that set on 2 out of 5. And then your advanced. So you've got an octave shift, so you can set it up to go higher or lower on the octave shift. I've just got it set on normal. You've got the OK key, right? So what happens when you click the OK key? So you can have that be an extra octave, right? So you can get up to 4 octaves just with the thumb control. Or if you want to give up one of those octaves, you can set it up to be a Portamento switch, and that's what I have, and I'll show you that later. Then you've got motion control. Okay, so we'll get to complaints a little bit later. So for now, I'll just say, matter of factly, that the 2 controllers that you have on the MIDI, other than notes, of course, is you have the breath sensor, and then you have motion control sensor. So as you tilt the Mini up and down, you can get various effects. So motion control you can set up to be pitch bend, which is what I have set up at the moment. You can also set it up to turn on portamento and vibrato if you like. So we'll just look at the pitch bend aspect today. And then motion angle, so you can control how far or how fast to adjust that motion angle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got it set in the middle on 3. Portamento time, so how fast do the notes glide into each other. Fast, slow. I'll put it on the medium setting. You have pitch bend range. Default is 2 semitones. Go just 1, 2, or 3 is the only pitch bend range. And then fingering mode. So there's a couple of fingering modes: sax, halluci, dizzy, ditzy. EVI plus, if you're a brass player, or whistle plus. I'm going to just leave it on the sax mode. It says sax, it's really close to recorder fingering. So that's what I'm going to be using. Okay, so breath curve, you can set that up for your breath response. I've got it set up for a linear response, but you can have it softer or harder from that. There's 4 different settings. Doesn't really say what it is on the display here, so you have to refer to the manual for those curves. Breath sensitivity. So this is from soft to hard, 1 through 5. I think I have it set up on 2, but again, that's just your playing preference, whatever you find works easiest. Key sensitivity. So this is how much latency it's going to add to the key sensitivity. So you can set that up for very fast playing, or 5, they claim is normal, and all the way up to 8 is slow. I have mine set on as fast as possible. And I think that is it in terms of configuration. So the point of that one is if you're getting a lot of glitches, I'll try to show you what that means. But if you're getting a lot of glitches, you can slow that down a little bit. Okay, so next let's talk about the fingering. So if you're used to, I guess, saxophone, not a saxophone player, or recorder, or really anything like that, it's going to feel very at home to you. If you're a whistle player, it may take a little bit of getting used to because of getting that right pinky in there. But the fingering is very natural. So if you're thinking in terms of the 7 playing holes without the plus minus, it's just going to go straight up the major scale. Okay, and there's where you might want the strap, because as you get less fingers on the horn, it becomes a little bit harder to control. And you also heard, as I was fumbling there, the pitch bend that I've got set up on motion control. So let's try that again with the strap. So it does use the recorder fingering of switching to the thumb and middle, and then all fingers off is a C sharp, like on recorder. If I can keep from pitch bending. All right, so that's your major scale. The in-between notes, of course, you can always just plus or minus with the left hand pinky, and the C sharp note, I believe, is the only one that would force you to do that. All the other in-between notes, there are at least one cross fingering, and the cross fingering is very one method of cross fingering is very easy to remember. It's basically you just leave one hole open and hit the next one down, and that will give you a flatted note as well. So let's look at okay. So let's look at the in-betweens. So for C sharp, you can either do C sharp or D flat with the pinky key. Oh, cool! I didn't know you could do C flat as well. So you can actually go down to a B note with that flat key. Finger D flat as well. Okay, so that's how you get the C sharp. I'll think of all of the rest as flats, because the easy way to think of those is to finger the natural note, skip a hole, and do the next one down, and that will flat. So like E flat. F flat, is that an E? Yeah, so F flat actually works. G flat, A flat, B flat. Get to that in a moment. So that's B. Was that A flat? That was B flat. Now, the other thing I'll say here that I haven't had a chance to mess with is that there is a Jamku app that supposedly lets you do custom fingerings. So if there's a fingering that you're used to either on your home instrument or on another wind controller, like on iwi, there were some combinations that I found very useful. You can program those in, I think, up to 20, but we'll look at that at a later date as well. Now, the other cool thing that I've not seen on any other wind controller is the possibility of an upper octave without using the octave keys. So you can get from that upper C note. So if you're fingering that C note, and really if you leave the top index finger open, then your bottom hand will get you from C up to G, with one exception, without using the octave key. So what does that look like? So let's say we're at our high C, and then I'm just going to use the fingerings on my right hand to go higher. Okay, so that's C, D, E, F. And I turned Portamento on, sorry. Now, to get to G is a little bit weird. To get to G, you basically, that's a special fingering. It's this. All right, so you can get there with just the left-hand ring finger, get you that high G. So that is pretty cool to have an octave and a half of notes plus the low B. All right, so you can go from what I would say is B3, B3 up to G5 without using the octave keys at all. And then if you use the octave keys, you can go higher, of course. So yeah, a lot of range there with just, oh, and you can go even higher with the OK button to get that extra octave. So 4.5 octaves, I guess, are possible. 3.5 if you've reconfigured your OK key. What else? Oh, so let's look at the pitch bend and portamento there. So as I said, I've got the OK set up as a portamento switch. So as I'm playing, if I hit the OK button, I'll turn on the portamento, which is the glide, and I can hit it again and it'll turn off. So let's see what that sounds like. This is off. On. That's portamento. Pitch bend works like this. So that's just tilting up, and I think you just get up and back down. I don't think there's any way to do a pitch down. Right, so it's kind of like a guitar bend, if you will. So you can get a shake there, which is doing the pitch bend as well. Okay, let's run through a couple of the other sounds. That was the oboe sound. Let's see. I think you do have to hit the configure button. to adjust the onboard tones. Trumpet. Sax. Violin. Sounds like it has some built-in vibrato to that violin. Don't have the vibrato setting on. A Lucy. Zudi. Suona. Pippa. Obviously a plucked instrument. '80s gamer. Firefly. Heel. Meow. A lot of my playing sounds like a strangled cat anyway. I don't really need any help with that. All right, shaker. Oh yeah, okay, so there's some fun sounds in here. Shaker, basically just using the motion control. All right, that's kind of fun. Kung Fu. And rain stick. I think that's it. Yeah. I'm gonna go back to oboe. What did I do? A recorder? Here's a recorder. Yeah. Not sure I'm going to leave the pitch bend on there. All right, so there you go. Pretty good rundown there. All right, so first impressions. Pros. As I said before, really good packaging, really quality production. Seems pretty sturdy. Don't know that I'd be, dropping it a lot, but seems to be a pretty sturdy package. Fingering is very natural. Really, if you have any woodwind experience or other wind controller experience, I think the fingering will come pretty quickly. So definitely like that. The fact that you can play it standalone is great for practice. The onboard sounds are not the greatest, but they are there, and there is some variety there and some fun ones. So that's pretty cool, and as I said, almost unique, or not very common in the wind controller world. Downside. Oh, okay, more upsides. So far, the breath controller, breath sensor seems pretty sensitive. Keys seem pretty sensitive. It's kind of playing as fast as I want it to play. Turn off Portamento. There's maybe a little bit of tiny bit of latency there, but definitely usable and controllable. And I'm not sure if that's kind of built into standalone mode, and I'll be curious to see how that plays out with MIDI. But yeah, I think the keys are definitely sensitive enough. Breath is sensitive enough. The motion control is neat. So being able to get to different effects with motion control is cool. So far, my biggest complaint, I would say, is that there's only 2 controllers, right? So you've only got 2 degrees of freedom, if you will, for controlling the performance. So biggest lack, I would say, is pitch bend, for sure. Having some kind of pitch bend, say, on the bottom thumb would be a definite improvement. If there's a Model 2, that'd be the first suggestion I would have, is some kind of pitch bend, either on the right-hand thumb or a bite sensor, and or a bite sensor. That would also be very welcome, like on the iwi. So yeah, that's the biggest complaint, I would say, is just lack of a true pitch bend experience. Although, as you saw, I'll be making use of what is here. So overall, I'd say this is a very good option for somebody looking, especially somebody looking for a inexpensive wind controller. I think these are retailing now for $250-ish. Don't hold me to that number, but about $250, I think. So it's on par with some of the lesser expensive wind controllers. iwi USB, I think, is still a little more expensive than that. The Warble controller I've showed you before is around that price range, plus or maybe minus at this point. So if you're looking at those, small, portable wind controllers, this will definitely be an option. And I think that is all I'm going to say about it today. And we will get this connected to USB MIDI and Bluetooth MIDI a little bit later. Did I mention the Cheesicizer app on iPad or iOS? Definitely looking forward to that. So yeah, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more information about the Clarii Mini.